Good morning, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I've got Tameka Anderson from Atlanta, Georgia, and she helps entrepreneurs with personal branding. And she calls herself a fun coach, helping leaders lead. And we'll find out what fun means, finding unmet needs. But if you're interested in the area of personal branding for leaders or developing a strategy for personal branding, standing out, becoming the go-to expert in visibility and thought leadership influence, Tamika's the guest for today, and I'm really happy to have her on the show and pick her brain. So, Tamika, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so happy to talk about this today.
Yeah. I love, like I said, your expertise really fits with the guests' needs. Those are interested in entrepreneurship and developing a personal brand, marketing, social media, thought leadership, influence. Talk about your background, why the audience will love this conversation.
Oh, such a background. So for me, what happened was I actually started my path, if you will, because I was a single mom and I became a nanny. And in becoming a nanny, because I love children, I've had so many client families that summertime came around. And I'm like, oh my God, I have so many children. What am I going to do in the summertime? So I started a summer camp. Now, in my summer camp, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have 15 kids in my summer camp. We'll be good. I had 35 children my first summer camp. And it was because my families told their friends. And so we had the first summer camp, everything was good. I had a line of parents every single day saying, Miss Tameka, can you teach me how to do this? Can you show me how to do that? My children love coming here. Please tell me what you're doing. So I had to develop a program for parents. And so at the end of the camp, parents were signing up for the next year. So every year, my summer camp doubled in size, and I never put out a flyer. I never did any traditional marketing. It was all word of mouth. So I was saying to myself, I think I'm probably good at building a brand. And so I began talking to my parents and asking them, why do you come? And they're just like, oh my goodness, my children talk about your camp all the time. So I was like, okay, what do they say? So just digging deep, I realized that I was really good at developing personal branding. And so I dived deeper into that. I dived deeper into it and started asking more questions and saying, hey, what is it that you say about me? And actually, that's how the Fun Coach was born. One of the words that all of the clients used was fun. I said, what if you use one word about me, what would it be? Oh, you're so much fun. So I said, okay, I'm going to use that. They call me the Fun Coach. I am going to, me being the writer, I am going to develop an acronym so that people can remember what I do. And so what I really do is I help people find unmet needs, because that has just been my claim to fame. When I had the children in my summer camp and the parents were struggling with behaviors, I helped them find out what was going on. So I said, okay, this is what we're even gonna do. And that is how Fun Coach Tameka was born.
Yeah, fascinating. And we're gonna talk about finding unmet needs. And what was really interesting was Tony Robbins said the best entrepreneurs, they anticipate needs, like needs that the client doesn't even know that they had. But a great example is like the iPhone or things like that. So one thing is talking about is this idea of mistakes, because everybody's these days is building a personal brand. You can see it on social media. Some people are really good at it and some people aren't. So what are mistakes people are making, and how can they avoid these?
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I would always say is there's one major mistake that people who want to develop a personal brand, that they seemingly everybody is doing this. They think that a personal brand is getting on social media, taking selfies and oh, look at my life and this is what I'm doing today. People don't care about that, right?
Yeah.
What people care about is how you make them feel. Maya Angelou says it best. People will forget what you say, people will forget what you do, but they will never forget how you make them feel. So when I work with my clients, I always ask them, What is the one feeling you want your audience to walk away with? And this is something most people don't think about. Feeling, we are human beings. So we remember feelings. We really do. I bet you can remember when someone broke your heart. You also remember when someone made you laugh. These are the things that you want to think about when you're developing a personal brand. What is the feeling I want people to walk away with? So for me, I want people to feel inspired to be themselves. So every piece of content that I put out has the theme of what? Inspiration. And so when you are building a personal brand, keep it simple. One feeling that you want your audience to feel and focus on that. So
Mm,
that's what I say.
interesting. Yeah, and that's a great start. And so the next question I have for you is this: a lot of people, they're going on social media and just posting just like random things, and a lot of people feel like they're self-promoting. And so how can a leader become the go-to expert in their field without feeling like they're being salesy or bragging or self-promoting?
Oh, that's such a, I love that question. Let me tell you why. Because people don't want to be sold to. As a matter of fact, that's the reason why you see this shift in the market now. Like people used to buy stuff because they saw commercials and ads. They don't want to be, people don't want to be sold to. So a lot of people come across as salesy and it's a turnoff for people. So I always say, when you're developing a personal brand, you're not selling anything. Like when I think about myself, right? The reason why my programs and summer camps and stuff were constantly overbooked and I had to put people on wait lists is because I wasn't selling anything. You know what I was doing? I was taking care of my clients. That's what I was doing. I love children. So what I did was I said, I asked children, I had a little round table. You know how if you have an executive CEO table, why don't people who, especially people who are working with children, more businesses will make tons more money. They will be sold out if they would do what I did. I developed a children's roundtable. We sat down, I had them their favorite snacks, and I said, talk to me. If you had the best day ever in your summer camp, what would you be doing? And so they told me. And guess what I did? We did all those things in my camp. I made it to where it was so irresistible that every child who entered my space would bug their mom and their dad to say, I need to go back there. Please take me there. I want to go. And so, if you develop a personal brand where you're going to be so passionate about the people you serve, they're just going to be so irresistible that you make it an obvious choice to work with you. You will never have to be salesy because I don't. Like my clients who work with me, and they stick around long periods of time because I find more and more ways of just taking care of them, just blowing their minds and just over delivering. I undersell and over deliver. So if you focus on saying, hey, what is the minimum that I know that I am going to do to blow away my clients and actually only talk about that. But then once they become a client, say, oh, by the way, I'm also going to do this for you. What? Then you're not selling. All you're doing is saying, hey, I can help you. You have this problem. I have this solution. So here's how I'm going to help you. And just talk about how you're going to help them. That is how you avoid being salesy.
Mm. Yeah, I love it. And I love the context of the conversation because you're talking about fulfilling unmet unmet needs, and also becoming the go-to expert, and what you're in a this it factor, the wow factor, creating rating fans. The other thing is studying great entrepreneurs is that fu- you're fulfilling unmet needs, and the best entrepreneurs, they find needs that their clients want or need, but even when the client doesn't even realize it. So how do you develop that skill to see what are unmet unmet needs in the marketplace that people are not even aware of.
Yeah. The good thing is, as humans, it is just a natural tendency for us to talk about our problems. You don't have to, if you go on social media like right now, I would love to see how long it takes you before you find a problem, someone complaining about something. So it's all out there. You just have to pay attention. What I realize is that a lot of entrepreneurs are struggling with sales because they're thinking about themselves, right? If you are thinking about only yourself and only solving your problem, you will have a sales problem because potential clients, they don't care about your problems as they shouldn't, right? As entrepreneurs, our job is to care so passionately about the people we serve that we learn how to scan for problems. So, literally, I set up a system where I scan for problems. So, I'm an in person, I go to networking events, right? And a lot of people say that they have so many problems, networking events, they don't work for them, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let me tell you what I do. And I actually wrote about this in my latest book too. I'll go to a networking event. I don't take business cards. I don't do a lot of talking. I'll walk around listening. That's what I do. I listen, right? So the strategy is to listen and keep listening because guess what? People are going to be talking about what? Problems. And then if you find someone that's actually going to have a conversation with you, keep asking them questions. Ask them, oh, what are you hoping to get from today? Oh, I'm looking to get some clients. Oh, great. So, what do you do for your clients? And just keep asking, what challenges are you having? And then go deeper into what challenges are you having until you find a sweet spot where they say something that they're having a challenge with that you could help them with. And then help them get a quick win. Oh, really? Oh, if you just do this will help you so much. And then they look and wait, what? And so one of the things that I do, I told you I don't take business cards, anything like that. And oftentimes I leave networking events early. What I realize is that when you become someone who helps people while you're at networking events, people will find you. Because they'll say, oh, do you have a business card? Because a lot of people just swap cards. I'm not interested in that. I want people to remember me. So the only thing that I do is show up to serve. I have an acronym, SOW, which stands for serve others well. That is all I do. When you in our human brains, when someone does something for us, we have this reciprocity meter like, oh my goodness, they did this for me. I want to do something for them. Guess what? I told you I don't bring business cards. So what happens next? When as I'm leaving, they say, how do I find you? All I say is, you can find me anywhere on the web, Fun Coach Tameka, right? So they have my brand. I've branded myself, right? Before I get home, I have people in my inbox, I have subscribers, I've gotten clients this way to say, I want to work with you. Why? Because when you go on the web and you pull up Fun Coach Tameka, there will be all kind of interviews, there will be tons and tons of free value for people to say, I need to work with her. So when you do that, there's no way you will not be overbooked.
Uh, wow. And I love that. And it's all about gaining visibility in a crowded industry. And to further the conversation, when you find that unmet need or even a future one, what's your approach to helping entrepreneurs define and communicate what their unique it factor is?
Oh, yes. I have a system that I have created for entrepreneurs, but in a very simple term, what I say to anyone is think about the one thing that people both compliment and criticize you for. For me, my one thing was my voice. I did a lot of talking when I was a child. Because I talked so much, they were just like, man, Tameka, you talk so much. I was often criticized for it. Now I get paid tons and tons of money to talk. So that is what I always say. If you can do nothing else, sit back and think about the one thing that people both compliment and criticize you for. That is your unique edge, right? And then working with them more, we dive deeper into the 3 P's of learning how to refine it, right? So if you think about any celebrity, think about your favorite celebrity, okay? Every celebrity that you can think of have the 3 P's that I'm about to mention right now. They have a commanding or demanding presence. And I get deeper into commanding or demanding. They have a strong personality and they have influencing power. So, commanding or demanding presence, strong personality, and influencing power. Those are the 3 P's. That is the system that I work with my clients on and developing and honing and crafting so that they can stand out in a way that you can never deny. That is that unique edge right there. So that is the system that I work with for my clients.
Mm, fascinating. And then, because I love your acronyms, you got fun, you've got the 3 P's, and then you also have your people framework. And what are those principles and how do they apply to leadership branding?
Oh, so me being a writer, like I said, I love acronyms because it's easier for you to remember, right? So that's why I use the acronym PEOPLE. And so PEOPLE stands for the first P is passion. When you're leading, you have to be passionate about the people you lead, or you will not lead them well. Okay. So that's passion. And then the first E is empathy. Not only do you need to have passion for the people you lead, you need to also lead with empathy, meaning we're human beings. You should view me as such. If you do not, you will not lead me well. Then there's the O, observation. Observe how you're showing up in the relationship with the people you lead. I cannot tell you how many times my clients have come to me and certain issues they have is because they don't know how they're showing up in the relationship with the people they lead. Okay. Then the next P is participation. If you are to look at your team dynamics and the people you lead, even if you're a parent, your children, how are you participating in the dysfunction of the relationship? Then my favorite L, listening. Something as simple as listening more than you speak is huge for leadership. If you have a meeting with your team and your meeting is 30 minutes and you're speaking for 2 minutes, that means you need to be listening for 4 minutes. You need to ask questions, let other people speak, because this is a way you help them to uplift their voice and show that they matter, which leads into the final E, empower. You cannot empower anyone unless they feel like you care about them. So
Right.
all of those things go together into the final piece of empowering and inspiring your team to do great things.
Yeah. Really interesting. So we have a few more minutes, 3, 4 minutes. And are there any branding tools or platforms you recommend looking to build their brands?
So here's what I'll say. The first step is you need to identify your it factor because the platform, like you'll see certain influencers who are crushing it on certain social media platforms, right? That's because they figured out their it factor and each platform is designed in a different way. This is why I never advise people to, oh, just be on all of the platforms because no, your it factor is very specific, right? So I do have a free quiz for people to take where they can find out their it factor. It's actually on my new books website, youritbook.com, and they could just take to the quiz and find out the it factor. But figuring out your it factor, right? So as you can see my shirt, it says My it factor is I am a visual storyteller. That means that I like to craft great stories. People enjoy hearing my stories, but I'm also very visual, meaning like performing arts and all of those things. So my platform of choice is YouTube because of that reason.
Yeah.
Now, someone else, they may be a storyteller, but they are not like, I don't really like all the visual thing. So a podcast may work for them. I know this one girl, she has an amazing podcast, but her voice is so soothing and she tells great stories. So her platform of choice is like just podcast, just audio. So you have to find out your unique edge first before you choose a platform. Does that make sense?
Oh, I love that. Yeah, indeed. Because everybody's saying these platforms, but ultimately these platforms are tools, and you use these tools to help you gain a footing in the marketplace, as
Yeah.
opposed to just being on these platforms, this more honed in specifics. If people really were listening to this and they really enjoyed your talk and they wanted to connect with you and reach out to you, how would they do that?
Everywhere on the web, Fun Coach Tameka. Even my website is funcoachtameka.com.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for a fantastic interview and keep up the great work.
Thanks so much for having me.